Welcome, everyone, to the KNL Gates Carnegie Mellon University Conference on Ethics and Computational Technologies. This year's conference is going to be themed around generative AI ethics and governance. We are honored to host an exceptional lineup of speakers and panelists today, visionary leaders at the forefront of shaping the future of this transformative technology for the benefit of humanity. We begin day one of the conference with opening remarks from the university leadership and representatives from KNL Gates. It is my distinct honor to introduce Dr. Farnam Jahanian, the 10th president of Carnegie Mellon University. Dr. Jahanian is a nationally recognized computer scientist, entrepreneur, public servant, and higher education leader. Since assuming the presidency of Carnegie Mellon in 2018, Dr. Jahanian has continued to build enormous momentum around Carnegie Mellon's mission of creating and leveraging knowledge for the benefit of humanity and educating society's next generation of leaders and innovators. Please join me now in welcoming President Jahanian to the podium.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hoda. It's so good to be with you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the university's administration and our leadership team, including our provost, Jim Garrett, who's here with us, I am pleased to extend a warm welcome to all of you as we kick off the 2025 CMU KNL Gates Conference on Ethics and Artificial Intelligence. As all of you know, every year this conference brings together thought leaders from across the country to discuss the ethical, societal, and policy ramifications brought on by advances in AI and other emerging technologies. And every year this exploration is possible thanks to an exceptional coalition of support and partnership. Our partners in this initiative, as I'm sure you know, is KNL Gates. And the folks at KNL Gates truly understand the far-reaching effects of these new technologies in the legal world and throughout society. And they have invested in this work to enable these unprecedented advances to benefit society. I'm excited to welcome several of their representatives from KNL Gates. I won't be able to name everyone, but very pleased to have David Lehman, who will, in a moment I'll have an opportunity to introduce, and of course the government affairs counselor at KNL Gates, Mike Doyle, whom I'm sure many of you know and recognize as our former U.S. Congressman, Mike Doyle. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming and thanking our partners from KNL Gates who are here with us today. I also want to acknowledge all of our speakers at this conference and panelists, including today's keynote speaker, DJ Patel. DJ, welcome back to Carnegie Mellon. I should acknowledge that DJ is also CMU parent. His son is at Carnegie Mellon. We're looking forward, of course, to your conversation with our Vice President for Research, Teresa Meyer, in just a few minutes. I know you bring really an important lens to about the opportunities and challenges of AI and emerging technologies. Preparing, of course, such an extraordinary agenda requires exceptional leadership and a lot of partnership and good work that comes together. I'm grateful to Hoda, Heidari, as well as Alex John London for co-leading this program. I'm also grateful to our partners at KNL Gates and also the team at Carnegie Mellon who've contributed to this effort. Please join me to thank all the speakers, organizers, everybody who's contributing to this event today. Just a couple of thoughts about this conference. This conference is happening at a breathtaking moment in the evolution of AI. The pace, the scope and scale of advances is truly unprecedented. And the advent of ChatGPT just a few years ago, of course, is a proof of that. The technology underlying modern large language models was, of course, considered a breakthrough just a few years ago. This was coming for many, many decades of research and innovation that has taken place. The fact that this generation of AI has so rapidly permeated society in such a short period of time is truly remarkable. For example, ChatGPT, as you know, reached 100 million users in just 2 months. and that was faster than any application in internet history. For example, when you consider the fact that Twitter took 5 years to reach 100 million. And of course, the estimates around the global impact of AI ranges, but it's considered to be trillions of dollars over the next decade. Today, of course, many of us recognize AI as one of the most important and transformative intellectual developments of our time. Recent breakthroughs have the potential to drastically transform the way we generate content, the way we make decisions, the way we do a lot of normal day-to-day stuff. And of course, major leaps toward data-enabled, technology-driven research are impacting a wide range of industries and markets, from healthcare, manufacturing to transportation, state exploration, and even the very essence of scientific discovery itself. For example, consider that that the entire industries are in flux today, and the race to upskilling and reskilling is more urgent than ever before. In fact, there was a recent Harvard Business Review recently reported that the average half-life of skill is now less than 5 years. And in some tech fields, it's dipped to as low as 2.5 years. By the way, the average half-life of university presidents is even shorter, but we won't go there. And while these technologies have many advantages, their developments have an unanticipated, of course, range of consequences. There's no single source of truth, if you will, on ethical or legal boundaries of AI. It's truly uncharted territory. Among issues that I know the attendees in this conference are going to consider includes privacy and cybersecurity concerns, inability to explain AI-based systems results, questions about even the provenance of data, illicit use, misinformation, and disinformation, not to mention all sorts of issues surrounding IP issues, intellectual property issues. And of course, the impact of future work is undeniable. Of course, the effect of emerging technologies on society is not a new concern, but thanks to the unprecedented a new generation of AI's evolution and potential impact, these issues have become even more urgent. Today, we're truly at an inflection point because of the proliferation of these technologies, and these innovations move at such a fast speed that our development of ethical and policy frameworks has to keep up. Now, of course, it's time for partners from across public and private sectors to come together to consider these really, really important issues. And of course, our colleagues here at Carnegie Mellon and scholars, researchers that collaborate with them are deeply involved in helping envision and build a future where people, policy, and technology are better connected and better served. With that, conversations like these, of course, are vital to getting AI right and fully leveraging AI technologies for the benefit of humanity. As I mentioned earlier, this is truly a team effort, and we're fortunate to have a steadfast and visionary partners in K&L Gates. It is now my pleasure to introduce David Lehman, who is a partner at K&L Gates. David spends his days doing many things, of course, providing corporate business and tax counseling, to privately held companies. And he's also an active member of K&L Gates' Artificial Intelligence Initiative. But David is also an alum of Carnegie Mellon. And fortunately for our students and for our community, he comes to campus quite often. David has delivered lectures on legal issues facing entrepreneurs. He has taught classes in law and public policy. He has served on our Dietrich College Board of Advisors. And he's also mentored our students in our Schwartz Center for Entrepreneurship. David, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your support. Thanks for all that you do for our community. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dave Lehman. David.
Well, good morning, and thank you for those very kind words. I'm delighted to be invited to welcome you all on behalf of K&L Gates. Some of you may remember the very first Carnegie Mellon University K&L Gates Conference on Ethics and AI held in April 2018. It was sponsored by the relatively new K&L Gates Endowment for Ethics and Computational Technologies at CMU. I'm proud of the endowment's continuing sponsorship and our firm's continued valued relationship with CMU and commitment to this important field. Excuse me. At that inaugural conference, there was acute recognition that computational technologies, including AI, are often developed and deployed without enough public engagement or discussion about their impacts. In our way, we wanted to help bring together a range of multidisciplinary experts to consider how these technologies could support and advance our collective values and interests. Today, we can look back in awe at the many achievements of CMU faculty, researchers, and students, not only as they advance human knowledge in the fields of computational technologies, but as we strive together to keep true to that early goal of encouraging greater public engagement around the impact of this technology. And it's never been more important. As we see such extraordinary developments in AI and the unprecedented momentum attracted by generative AI technology and its application in our society, we've all become aware of how critical it is to have a well-informed, clear-sighted public discourse around the impacts and opportunities of AI. Our conference theme of generative AI ethics and governance is particularly timely. CMU has been at the forefront of that emerging field of AI governance, shaping its trajectory through groundbreaking research and policy engagement. We are eager to hear from some of those experts today. And responsible AI governance is at the heart of our approach at KNO. As we strive to unlock innovative opportunities and enhance client value while always maintaining the highest standards of legal professional responsibility, confidentiality, privacy, and data stewardship. As a global law firm, we are actively engaged in how AI is likely to impact our clients' businesses and our own practice across multiple regions and industries. Many areas of the law are implicated, including intellectual property issues, such as copyright and training data sets and in generative AI output, cybersecurity threats and defenses, deepfakes, fraud, defamation, and misrepresentation, corporate governance issues, including the environmental impact of supercomputers and the social impact of inherent bias, employment issues from policy compliance to challenges associated with potential workforce disruptions, access to justice initiatives through our active pro bono program, and many more. In some cases, the law is still evolving to catch up with the technology, making for areas of real uncertainty. Luckily, we lawyers are no strangers to navigating our way around emergent legal concepts, and we have a role to play in doing just that, while at the same time advocating for prudent legal reform. Globally, regulators are taking increasingly disparate stances on providing regulatory frameworks. The balance between safeguarding rights and duties and encouraging development and innovation continues to shift. A focus on inclusive and sustainable AI was a key theme of the recent AI Action Summit in Paris. However, global geopolitical tensions remain. Locally, state bar associations are examining how legal professional conduct rules and ethical obligation guidelines need to be calibrated for this new technology. Our firm is taking an active interest in all these developments. Practically, our clients and law firms like ours are facing daily decisions about how to evaluate the avalanche of new AI products, dealing with how to securely and responsibly deploy them, how to continually recalibrate business models to accommodate new value being created, and how to thoughtfully lead their organizations through change. We look to the law to provide us with a framework for those decisions, and we look to events like this one to inform, inspire, and sustain us in the challenge. Finally, I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank all the CMU team for making this event happen, and in particular, our K&L Gates chairs, Alice, London, and Hoda. And with that, it is now my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Hoda, a distinguished scholar and trailblazer in the field of responsible artificial intelligence. Currently serving as an assistant professor at CMU School of Computer Science, she holds joint appointments in machine learning and societal computing. Hoda's research is at the forefront of addressing the social, ethical, and economic implications of artificial intelligence, focusing on the critical issues of fairness and accountability in the application of AI in socially consequential domains. I'm particularly proud to acknowledge her as the K&L Gates Career Development Assistant Professor in Ethics and Computational Technologies. To frame and introduce our event today, please welcome Hoda.
Thanks a lot, David, for that kind introduction. So the purpose of the presentation that I'm going to give is to establish shared framing for the program we have curated for you at this conference. Again, the theme of this year's conference is Generative AI, Ethics, and Governance. And as David mentioned, this is both timely and critical. So I will begin by highlighting the imperative for AI governance through the lens of some fundamental ethical principles and broader societal considerations. We will then define the concept of governance and explore the key challenges associated with effectively governing AI in practice. We will then examine how the rise of generative AI in particular not only amplifies those challenges, but also heightens the urgency for responsible governance. And finally, I will briefly introduce the program for you, which we have curated to illuminate the path forward. Okay, so over the past 2 decades, we have seen an accelerated adoption of AI in an ever-expanding set of domains, such as medicine, employment, education, to name only a few. AI is increasingly leveraged to automate and enhance critical decision-making processes and workflows. For example, David just mentioned the many use cases in law and the legal profession. The promise of AI lies in deriving innovation and economic growth, efficiency gains, and while at the same time expanding access and improving certain aspects of due process. However, in recent years, we have also seen a growing number of incidents where AI has caused harm, raising increasing concerns about its impact on society. These concerns encompass violations of fundamental ethical principles such as justice and fairness, privacy, accountability, transparency, and safety. So AI is a technology, and like any other technology, it is only valuable as its ability to solve our problems and enhance our lives without creating undue risks and harm. Therefore, responsible development and use of AI requires a deliberate effort to align it with our positive societal goals, as shown on the left slide here, the left panel here, while simultaneously preventing and mitigating potential risks and harms, as shown on the right. So while there is a broad consensus on these goals that you see here, the critical question remains, how do we achieve these in practice? This is where governance plays a crucial role. So we define governance as the system by which an establishment is controlled and directed towards its goals, along with the mechanisms that hold both the establishment and its people accountable. Now, there are 3 key observations that I would like to make about this particular conception of governance. First, a lack of deliberate governance is still a form of governance. This is known as the laissez-faire, a hands-off approach where systems operate without structured oversight or intervention. The second observation I'd like to make is that governance is not exclusive to governments. A significant portion of governance occurs, for example, within organizations that develop or deploy AI, whether or not external oversight is involved. And the third one is that governance is not synonymous with regulation, restriction, or slowing down innovation. Instead, it is about establishing high standards and best practices to ensure that AI products and services are of high quality, they are trustworthy and beneficial. So responsible AI governance is not meant to stifle progress and innovation, but to foster the maturation of AI as a transformative technology and to ensure its long-term sustained growth and positive impact. So with this perspective in mind, I would argue that anyone working in AI should take an active interest in responsible governance of AI. So while governments can play a significant role in AI governance, it is not an activity exclusive to government entities, as I just mentioned. Instead, governance operates as an ecosystem involving numerous actors and stakeholders, each with distinct roles and responsibilities. Here, we highlight 4 macro-level categories of AI stakeholders: academia, industry, civil society, and governments, each of whom contributes in critical ways to this ecosystem of governance. For example, academia drives research necessary to evaluate AI systems, to develop standards and best practices, and to train the next generation of AI experts and leaders. Industry leads the development and deployment of large-scale AI systems. Civil society and advocates for impacted communities and raise public awareness of AI. And governments provide policy and regulatory structure and oversight. Today, we are privileged to hear from leading voices representing each and every one of these key players. Okay, so now that we have defined what we mean by governance and what are some of the key challenges and the key stakeholders involved, let me quickly tell you what are some of the challenges unique to the governance of AI as opposed to other technologies. So one of the primary difficulties with the governing AI is the fact that it involves numerous stakeholders, each with diverse and sometimes conflicting goals and values. Even when broadly acceptable normative consensus is reached, determining the specific standards and best practices that each stakeholder should adhere to remains uncertain. And this challenge of not having standards and best practices is amplified by AI's general purpose nature, the fact that it's highly complex and it is rapidly evolving. Moreover, even if AI stakeholders understand what they need to comply with, the question of incentives and enforcement remains unresolved. So this is all about AI. Now, with the rise of powerful generative AI models, we are facing a new sense of urgency to the question of governance. So in the past, developing AI for a specific domain required building specialized systems from the ground up. Today, however, general-purpose foundation models allow anyone to create AI-powered applications quickly, cost-effectively, and without deep AI expertise. This shift marks a paradigm shift in the way AI is developed and deployed. And while this shift opens up immense opportunities for innovation and improves access, it also raises critical governance challenges. For one, the general-purpose nature of the technology significantly broadens its risk surface. Unlike specialized AI systems designed for narrow tasks, general-purpose AI can be applied across numerous domains, making it more difficult to anticipate, control, and mitigate all risks. Here you can see, for example, an illustration from some of my own recent work where we mapped real-world incidents involving generative AI to specific risk categories, and those risks include risks to human autonomy, misinformation and erosion of democracy, reputational risks to business and organizations, physical and psychological harms. In addition to the risks being broad and hard to foresee, evaluate, and mitigate, the capabilities of the general-purpose AI technologies are emerging and not well understood. Additionally, we are facing a new supply chain and ecosystem that mandates us rethinking all that we knew about responsible AI governance for more traditional predictive AI. So if you're interested in reading more, learning more about this, I refer you to the International Scientific Report on the Safety of Advanced AI, a collaborative report among more than 30 countries, spearheaded by the government of the UK and several European nations, and I had the honor of contributing to this report there. You can see all these risks and where we are in terms of mitigating them. Okay, now that we have defined our key terms and outlined the core challenges of AI governance, let's take a look at the program we have curated for you to illuminate the path forward. So day one of the conference will center on sector-agnostic governance, addressing broad governance principles that apply across domains and sectors. We begin with a fireside chat featuring DJ Patil, the former chief data scientist of the United States, who will share insights on the evolving landscape of AI governance. Following that, our first expert panel will delve into the new ethical concerns and challenges posed by generative AI. During lunch, we will have the opportunity to hear from our KNL Gates fellows and as they share their research progress with us. Following lunch, the afternoon will feature two additional expert panels. Panel 2 will examine the diverse approaches that different governments have taken to govern generative AI, highlighting key policies, regulatory frameworks, and emerging global trends. Panel 3 will focus on how the tech industry and other organizations are navigating AI governance. Day 2 of the conference will shift the focus to sector-specific AI governance, examining the unique challenges that generative AI introduces in critical domains such as healthcare, education, and labor. Our final expert panel will take a deep dive into generative AI governance within these three domains. We are also thrilled to host a keynote session with Natasha Crampton, the Chief Responsible AI Officer of Microsoft, who will share her insights for fostering responsible AI practice in the tech industry at scale. We hope you find this program valuable, and to ensure that you can actively participate in this event, we have designated 2 mechanisms for asking questions throughout the day. Through each session, you can submit your questions via Slido. Each session will contain information about how to go to Slido and submit your questions, and the moderator can direct those questions to the speakers. You can also raise your hand to take the mic and ask questions when the moderator opens the floor. A couple additional quick logistical details about the location of different parts of the program. The breaks are going to be in the lobby. Lunch will be served in the lobby, but you are asked to grab your lunch and come back to listen to our fellows as they talk about their research. Today, we are going to end with a public reception. The reception is going to be in the PNC Foundation Room. It is going to be upstairs. For restrooms and also finding the PNC Foundation rooms, there should be signage posted everywhere. Okay, so let me wrap up by some quick acknowledgements. This event would not have been possible without the dedication, generosity, and leadership of numerous partners. Their commitment, ideas, and collaboration have been instrumental in bringing this conference to life, and I'm deeply grateful to their contributions. In particular, I would like to thank our advisory committee, our dedicated administrative team, the university leadership, both the Office of the Provost and the Office of the President, and last but not least, the KNL Gates, whose generous donation to the university made all of this possible.